Next week, President Obama will travel to Europe in a trip that will take him to some countries that will be working on the most pressing foreign policy issues that we're facing today, and also travel to Normandy. We'll have a chance to pay tribute to one of the most resonant events in the history of American foreign and military policy, the D-Day invasion. We'll begin the trip in Poland, where the President will have an opportunity to meet with the Polish leadership and also to meet with the leaders of all of our Central and Eastern European allies. In the face of Russia's aggression, we've stood together, and in this meeting we'll discuss how we can reassure our NATO allies of our security commitments to them, and also reiterate our common commitment to security and democracy more broadly in Europe. Over the course of the President's trip, he looks forward to having an opportunity to meet with Ukraine's President-elect Poroshenko, where he'll discuss America's commitment to stabilizing the Ukrainian economy and defending and standing up for the right of the Ukrainian people to determine their own future, particularly as it relates to the situation in eastern Ukraine and the situation with Russia. We actually believe Ukrainians now have a huge opportunity, having been through a successful election, elected a new president committed to better relations with his neighbors, the West and the United States, as well as dialogue with Russia. Hopefully we can use this opportunity to continue to support the consolidation of democracy in Ukraine and reduce tensions more broadly. After the President goes to Poland, he will move on to Brussels, where he'll have a G7 meeting. This was originally supposed to be a G8 meeting in Sochi in Russia, but after Russia was suspended from the G8, the leaders decided to hold this meeting in Brussels instead. There, they'll talk about the situation in Ukraine and the support for the Ukrainian people. Also, though, they'll discuss issues like energy diversification. How can the G7 nations work together so that Europe, for instance, has more access to energy and is less dependent on Russia over time? And they'll talk about trade negotiations and the ways in which we're working together to grow our economies. Then the President will move on to France, where he'll spend the night in Paris and have an opportunity to see President Hollande. But the main focus of our trip to France is honoring our D-Day veterans. And the President will go up to Normandy on the 70th anniversary of D-Day. He'll be joined there by veterans who served in that campaign, and also from veterans and troops who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, making very clear that the heroism and service that has so inspired us from those men who stormed the beaches at D-Day continues today in the 9/11 generation of men and women who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. So it's a trip that will cover a lot of business, from NATO to Ukraine to European security to trade and investment relationships, but it'll also be a chance to pay tribute to a history that all Americans are rightly proud of. So we'll keep you updated from the road.